Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Tuesday night that finds Florida and Florida State on the hardwood. Good one going on down in Gainesville. They are at halftime. The Seminoles actually with a 40-37 lead. Florida, for the third game in a row, cannot buy a three-pointer to save their life. I understand I'm contractually obligated to say, well, it's early in the year, and they also won the national championship, which are two good points, I suppose. But nevertheless, it is frustrating. Three after three after three, clank after clank after clank. And this Florida State, this new coach, Luke Laux, I kind of like this guy. They got a really fun style of offense they're running. We'll keep you updated. But the Seminoles trying to pull a big upset in Gainesville tonight. They lead the Gators 40-37 at the half. It's also a Tuesday night that finds the realization that Travis Hunter's rookie season has come to an end here in Jacksonville. It was announced earlier today by the Jaguars that Travis Hunter had surgery to repair the LCL, not the ACL, not the MCL, not the PCL, but the LCL. The good news about it, apparently, is that was the only damage to the knee. He will be resuming football activities in about 6 months. So, presumably, I wouldn't have him out there at OTAs at all, obviously, but presumably he should be good to go for the start of training camp in July. Obviously, for the remainder of 2025, that puts the Jaguars in a little bit of a predicament, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment. The Jaguars do come back to work tomorrow at the Miller Electric Center to begin preparations for the Los Angeles Chargers, the 7-3 LA Chargers, a Charger team that has won 4 out of 5, and a Charger team making their first trip to Jacksonville since they blew a 27-point lead in the playoffs back in January of 2023. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, and the Duval Dive podcast. Also, JP Acosta of CBSSports.com, both scheduled to join us here in hour number 1. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Well, if Sunday was an earthquake, the 19-point collapse in the fourth quarter, the largest fourth quarter collapse in Jaguar franchise history, if that was the earthquake, you had a pretty big aftershock this afternoon with the news and the clarity, I suppose, that Travis Hunter will be out for the year. Now, I don't understand why this is catching so many people off guard. I didn't know that he was going to be out for the year, but anybody that watched the press conference back on Halloween, the day after this happened, anybody that listened to Liam Cohen or saw his body manual, look, I'm no body language expert, right? But you could just look at the guy and know that, yeah, we're putting him on IR. When he said it was non-contact, you're thinking, oh boy, probably not good. Was I hoping for the best, meaning a comeback, in December, maybe before playoff time? Sure. I was hoping that. I wasn't really counting on that. And then when they make the trade for Jakobi Meyers, look, losing Travis Hunter is terrible. Terrible. for what he brings to this team, for the excitement he has to this organization, for everything that he's done. It sucks. I'm not trying to downplay it. It's a brutal loss. But, and I'm never glass half full guy. I'm never glass positive guy when it comes to the Jaguars, or very rarely. But I was thinking about this on the drive in. Assuming you get BTJ healthy at some point, which you will at some point, maybe this week, who knows. But Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, with the way Parker Washington's playing, if you get anything out of De'Ami Brown, and you are going to get Brenton Strange back as well, you could do a lot worse than that. You could do a lot worse than that. So, I think the initial shock of the 19-point collapse on Sunday, followed 48 hours later by the news that Travis Hunter's out for the year. I mean, I had people on my social media account today chiming in saying the season's over, the season's a loss, the season's a wash. Guys, you may be right. And certainly it's not been a good 48 to 72 hour period for the Jaguars. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke at you and say it's been great. It hasn't been. It's been brutal. Brutal. But let's not lose sight of something, all right? If the playoffs started today, the Jaguars would be in the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, they would be. That's factual information. I'm not making that up. They play the New York Jets. They play the Tennessee Titans twice. Arguably, the two worst teams in the NFL, you play 3 times over the next 8 weeks. You also take a trip to Arizona. They're not very good. That's half your games. You get 2 with the Colts. Could make up a lot of ground on them. And then obviously you get the Chargers here on Sunday. I'm not sitting here telling you the Jaguars are going to go on a run. They have taken a couple of body blows with that loss on Sunday, coupled with the Travis Hunter clarity today. I mean, body blows. But let's not say, well, because of that loss and because of the Travis Hunter, I figured Travis Hunter wasn't going to come back. At best case scenario, he was going to come back mid-December. I don't know why anybody would have thought he was going to come back after 4 games. They just put him on short-term IR in case they got lucky. They didn't get lucky. And now, that's why you go trade for Jacoby Myers. You do get Brenton Strange back at some point. You will get Brian Thomas Jr. back at some point. Parker Washington has really stepped up. And can you get anything out of De'Ami Brown? This team made the divisional round of the playoffs a couple of years ago with Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and I'll give Evan Ingram credit. He was pretty good that year. But Zay Jones and Christian Kirk were their 2 starting wide receivers. And they were one of the last 8 teams standing. It's going to come down to Trevor. It's going to come down, can the offensive line block anybody? And it's going to come down to, can the defense stop anybody? Because I think even without Travis Hunter, which again, sucks, don't misunderstand me, it sucks, I don't think it's a death blow to the season as some people are making it out to be. It doesn't help. By far and away, it doesn't help. But just let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see what they look like over the next 2 games. The next 2 games will tell the tale. If they lose the next 2, the season's over. If they lose to the Chargers and if they lose to the Cardinals, at that point, I'll probably come on here and agree with you. At 5-6, the season will more than likely be over. But I'm going to give it 2 games. Home against LA, at Arizona, before we start thinking about 2026. And again, 2 with the Titans and a Jets game, your schedule is considerably easier than it was in the first part of the year. But I do think they have to win at least 1 of the next 2 games. You got to get 1 of these. Hopefully you get both of them. But you got to get 1 between the Chargers and the Cardinals. You got to be 6-5 heading into that final 6-game stretch. 641-1010 on the text line. 641-1010 is the phone number if you want to hit me up on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Let's call a little bit of an audible here. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, will join us now at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, so about 8:30 for Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country and the host of the Duval Dive podcast. Coming up next, more on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll keep you updated on Florida State basketball as well. We're glad you're with us on a Tuesday night here in Northeast Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
Game day doesn't end after the game. It's not complete without the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter with Hacker Leon and Coach Gerald Ingram. Flavored by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Apex Roofing and Contracting on 1010XL.
Truth Teller here, and I've solved all of your holiday problems and stress. A gift card from the Blue Crab Crab House. Get this, you buy a $50 gift card, and you get an additional $15 card for free. It's that simple, and as always at the Blue Crab Crab House, the best crabs in Jacksonville, oysters, and seafood, period. Blue Crab Crab House, open every day except for Monday, off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
From Spurrier's playbook to ESPN studios, Chris Doring knows college football, and he brings his Gator greatness to the drill with Dan and Jeff. Tuesday mornings at 7:20. Protected by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters. And drainage, too.
Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. When it comes to selling your home, you think you got problems? Well, I got promises. Chad and Sandy do. Jacksonville homes are selling, but it can take months and a low price to sell. Not anymore. You go with Chad and Sandy Newman, the experts that I recommend. Proven systems. They drive demand for selling your home, and they have this guarantee. Bottom line, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. That's why the local real estate experts that I'm trusting and recommending need to sell now. Chad and Sandy will have instant offers, fast, easy, and stress-free. Keith in Atlantic Beach said, I wanted to move my parents closer. They needed a lot of help getting their home ready for sale and finding a new one. Medical issues made things even more challenging. I called Chad and Sandy because I heard their stories on the radio. The Chad and Sandy team were compassionate, professional, got the job done. My folks' home sold the very first weekend for $1.2 million in cash. Call the local experts I'm recommending. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200 or chadandsandy.com.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through November 13th. Financing available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they get the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
College basketball, second half underway in Gainesville. Florida State 42, Florida 40, 18-15 to go in the ball game. Florida can't shoot to save their life. What they can do is rebound the ball on the offensive glass. 11 offensive rebounds has really kept them in the game. Thomas Houck, actually, no, they called him for traveling. So Florida State 42, Florida 40, 18 minutes to go in the ball game, and we will keep you updated. Speaking of the world of college athletics, back into the Jaguars in one moment. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, joins us coming up here towards the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Week 2 of the college football playoff rankings are out. No real changes at the top. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Alabama 4. The Georgia Bulldogs come in at number 5. Denmark, let me stop right there. Same exact top 5 as last week. I asked you this a week ago. I'll ask you again. Any issue with the top 5 of the college football playoff rankings?
No.
I don't have an issue either. Alabama is ranked above Georgia because Alabama beat Georgia. It's very simple. A&M is the only undefeated team in the Southeastern Conference. That's why they're 3. Could you argue A&M's got a tougher road than Indiana? Yeah, you could probably argue that, but Indiana's got the best win between the two. Indiana went into Oregon and won. So again, Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, A&M 3, Alabama 4, Georgia 5. 6 through 10, Texas Tech. Here's Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss at 7. Of course, Florida goes out there on Saturday. Oregon 8, Notre Dame 9, Texas 10. Texas is ranked 10th. They go to Georgia on Saturday. Is Texas playing for their college football playoff life? Do they have to win on Saturday? And if not, they're done?
Probably. I'd lean more yes than no. I'd still think they have a chance if they lose, but probably not.
You could argue Oklahoma's doing the exact same thing. Oklahoma plays Alabama. Oklahoma comes in at 11, BYU 12, and then rounding out Houston 13. There's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt up a couple of spots, up to 14, and their Miami is at number 15. Let me ask you this, Denmark. If Vanderbilt and Miami both finish 10-2, and the committee can only take one of them, who do they take?
Does Miami make the ACC championship?
Will that be the determining factor, you think?
It might be.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That's a good point. I don't know. The SEC, because the SEC right now, I mean, Alabama's getting in. Georgia's getting in. I feel pretty confident that Ole Miss is getting in. That's 3. How many are going to get in from the Southeastern Conference? Maybe 1 out of Texas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. I think the SEC probably gets 4 teams in the way it stands right now, but we'll see. By the way, Georgia Tech 16, Southern Cal 17, Virginia 18, or Michigan 18, I'm sorry, Virginia 19, Louisville 20. By the way, the group of 5 team that would get in right now, that would get the last spot, South Florida. USF would be in right now as the highest ranked group of 5 champion. They would be the 12th and final seed in the college football playoff. Big Saturday of college football, Oklahoma, Alabama. We mentioned Texas, Georgia. And locally, you got Miami in a must-win against North Carolina State. Florida State and Florida do actually play this week. Florida State, I believe it's their final home game. I think it's senior night at Doak Campbell. They play Virginia Tech, and Florida, of course, travels to Oxford to take on Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels. Back into the National Football League, back in to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, like I said in the first segment, the opening monologue there. The frustration over the last 48 hours is absolutely warranted, right? The collapse that this team suffered losing to Houston is almost unfathomable. I mean, anything that could go wrong went wrong for Jacksonville in that fourth quarter. We've spent I spent the fifth quarter on Sunday, Hacker After Dark last night. I always love when Jacksonville makes national news negatively because I get contacted by a lot of out-of-market radio stations to come on. So I've just gotten beat over the head by other colleagues in the media nationally that are asking about, the collapse and is this the beginning of the end and yada, yada, yada. It's just like, oh, geez, I can't catch a break. I always want to go on with them because it's the right thing to do, but man, it's just tough to talk about it over and over and over. So needless to say, I'm ready to move on to the Los Angeles Chargers. And then we get the news this afternoon about Travis Hunter. And again, to me, this is about clarity more than it is about shock and awe, right? I see some people, and again, we sometimes, or at least I'm guilty of this, think social media is the end-all be-all, and it's not. But my social media timeline just blew up with the season's over, I can't believe this, the Jaguars are cursed, Travis is out for the year, didn't see this coming, and I'm just sitting there reading all these things thinking, how did you realistically expect him to come back? Again, realistically, I was hoping for mid-December based on, and that wasn't any knowledge I had necessarily. It was just watching Liam Cohen in that press conference and the fact that we had gotten basically nothing about Travis Hunter. We got the ACL was intact. That's what we got. Well, that's great that the ACL is intact, but guess what? The knee is a complex thing. There's a lot of other moving parts in there, including an LCL, which obviously was not in the greatest shape. He had surgery on it, I guess earlier today is what I read, and he will be back 100% ready for football-related activities in 6 months. So, what do the Jaguars do from here? And I was going to save this for tomorrow night once the guys got back in the locker room. I'm going to be down in the locker room tomorrow. It'll be very interesting in there, I'm sure, to kind of get a vibe of the emotions and the feelings coming off the Houston situation and obviously now officially losing Travis Hunter for the year. But I'm going to channel my inner Aaron Rodgers here from a couple of years ago. And normally I don't do this. Normally I'm as frustrated as you and everybody else. But I do see maybe a greener picture than some do, at least the people that I talk to. The season is not over. The season is not a wash. We're not packing it up and coming back in 2026. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 5-4 on the year. All right, 5-4. They currently have the 7th and final AFC playoff spot. If the playoffs started today, the Jaguars would be in the playoffs. If you're Jacksonville, let's look at the last 8 games, okay? Again, let's start small. Can you get 4-4 in the last 8? Can you go 500 in the last 8 games? Your games are against the New York Jets. You got 2 versus the Colts. You got 2 versus the Titans. That's 5. You got the Chargers in there. You got the Cardinals in there. Denmark, I'm missing one. Who am I missing? There's 8 games left, right? Indy, Tennessee, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the
Denver,
the Broncos. Yes, that'll be a tough one. And the Broncos. So those are your 8 games. Can you get 4-4 to get to 9-8 on the year? I'm not telling you 9-8 is going to get you in, but 9-8 makes week 17 and week 18 worth watching. 9-8 would be right in the thick of it up until the very end. Truthfully, you probably need to get 10-7. You probably got to go 5-3 in the last 8. Is that doable? Well, let's think about it. You have to beat Tennessee twice. They are awful. You have to beat them twice. And you should beat them twice. If you do, that gets you to 7 wins. You have to beat the Jets. The Jets are awful, Aaron Glenn is calling out members of the New York media now. There was a weird press conference up there today. The wheels might be coming off of that thing sooner rather than later. You got to get those three. If you lose one of those, then you're probably in trouble. But assuming you get the Jets and you sweep the Titans, well, there's 8 wins right there. Can you get 2 out of the following 5? Can you find 2 wins? Chargers, Cardinals, Broncos, Colts. You can go 2 and 3 in those 5, assuming you beat the Titans twice and you beat the Jets twice. I think 10 and 7's doable. I wouldn't think they're going to do any better than 10 and 7, but I think 10 and 7's doable. And if you get to 10 and 7, then you are probably right in it for those 6th and 7th wild card spots. Keep in mind, any silver lining on Sunday, and it was hard to find one, admittedly, but any silver lining was Pittsburgh losing. The Chargers beat Pittsburgh on Sunday night. So now you look at the wild card scenario. Buffalo currently has one of the wild cards at 6 and 3. Everybody else in the wild card conversation has 4 losses or more. The Steelers have 4 losses. The Chiefs have 4 losses. The Jaguars have 4 losses. And then you get down to like the Ravens and the Texans, who both obviously have 5 losses. What does all this mean? This rambling I've been doing for the last 2.5 minutes, what does all of it mean? The season is not over. Pump the brakes. I know the last 48 hours have sucked big time. And I'm not going to try to sit here and make you feel better about Sunday's collapse or about the Travis Hunter news today. But what I am going to tell you is the Jaguars at the wide receiver position, again, you could do an awful lot worse than Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, De'Ami Brown, and a healthy Brenton Strange. That's far from terrible. It's going to come down to Trevor Lawrence. It's going to come down to the offensive line, which has been terrible for the last month. Yes, it has been. They have to improve. And it's going to come down to the defense. I think the passing game, even despite not having Travis Hunter here, I think you'll be fine with that collection of wide receivers. Jacoby Myers was wide receiver 1 in Las Vegas. He was their number 1 option at wideout. Brian Thomas Jr. clearly was wide receiver 1 last year and was thought to be it this year. Translation, you got 2 considered wide receiver 1s now on the same team. With the emergence of Parker Washington, you get Brenton Strange back. We'll get more information on that tomorrow. Just pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see what happens over the next couple of weeks, beginning Sunday with the LA Chargers, a Charger team that has won 3 in a row, a Charger team that has won 4 out of 5, and interestingly enough, a Charger team that, unlike Seattle, remember we had the conversation about Seattle coming to the East Coast and how well they play? And they do, and they did, and they beat Jacksonville. The Chargers, on the other hand, do not play well on the East Coast. Remember they went to New York earlier in the year and the Giants beat them? The Giants beat them. The Chargers also didn't play particularly well to start the game against Tennessee. The Titans were in that game. The Chargers, the lowly Titans, the LA Chargers beat them 27-20. Chargers are 7-3. They're a good football team. But unlike Seattle, them traveling to the East Coast hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows. And the Chargers have a bye week after this game, which is interesting too. So you got a long trip to the East Coast. Their players know they're getting a week off after this game. I don't know. On the schedule, I don't hate this matchup for Jacksonville, at least the way it stands right now. Again, I'm really interested about getting back into that locker room tomorrow at the Miller Electric Center and getting a vibe from the guys on kind of the emotional status of this team heading into a big, big game on Sunday afternoon. Speaking of that game on Sunday afternoon, let's talk about it. Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. He's also a co-host of the Duval Dive podcast. Let's talk about the Jaguars at 5-4. Let's preview the LA game on Sunday. Let's talk about the issues with the O-line, the pass rush, and all points in between. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, joins me next, right here. It's Hacker After Dark.
Offense defense, special teams.
Offense, defense, and special teams all contribute.
We got ourselves a roster.
After the game, pump up the Superior Plumbing Special Teams Player of the Game.
They got to match eyes
on 1010XL.
At Beard's Diamonds, we celebrate your anniversaries all the time. But now it's time for you to celebrate ours with the biggest sale all year. Beard's 44th anniversary sale is happening now with up to 44% savings. This is our biggest and final store-wide event of the year with our largest selection and lowest prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, colored gemstones, gold fashion. Our cases are jam-packed, and our associates know they can break all the rules for this. So come join us as we mark another year of proudly serving Jacksonville. In a sea of corporate chain jewelry stores, we're honored to be the only local jeweler in the town center. No commission salespeople, no corporate chain sales gimmicks, no treating you like a number. At Beard's, we're local people serving local people with honesty, integrity, transparency, and good old-fashioned customer care. Don't miss Beard's Diamonds 44th anniversary sale. From gold necklaces to lab-grown diamond studs to all the latest styles from top designers. You'll find it all at Beard's in the St. John's Town Center.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. The law firm of Farah and Farah and Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Go Gators!
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I've got a challenge for you. Go stand next to your window. You feel a cool draft? Well, then you need Pella. The experts at Pella Windows and Doors can easily fix that with energy-efficient windows to keep the drafty air out and save you money every month. And how does 0% interest for 60 months sound? Go to PellaJacks.com and schedule a free home energy checkup. That's PellaJacks.com or visit the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows and tell them you heard about Mike's challenge on 1010XL.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Chargers, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. A big game in the American Football Conference. The 7-3 Chargers, the 5-4 Jaguars, as the Jaguar organization and the fan base try to shake out the cobwebs, I guess, of that fourth quarter in Houston. Will be really interesting to see how Jacksonville comes out and tries to respond. Let's talk about all of it with Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. You also see him on the Duval Dive podcast. And Travis is always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Travis, how we doing, man?
Man, I am just happy. I'm just trying to survive right now. It is chaos out there in this Duval fan base, rightfully so.
Yeah, look, I mean, Sunday, I try not to be like in situations like this. I don't want to be hyperbole or be radio guy to try to, anger listeners. I'm genuinely serious about this. Regular season wise, Travis, I don't know in the history of the franchise if there's been a more disappointing loss. Now, you can point to the 23 finale against the Titans that cost the Jaguars their season. But at that point, they had already lost like 4 out of 5, I think, going in, and the ship was going down, and that was just the final straw. Here, you're 12 minutes away from 6-3. You could have buried your division rival, and to blow a 3-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter to their backup quarterback, Travis, that's hard to fathom how that happened.
It's hard to fathom how it happened, but also I'm just going to be honest with you. It wasn't unexpected. And if you talk to the vast majority of the Duval fan base in the second quarter of the game, and you can go back to the socials and talk and go to very many Jaguar fans, everyone had the same thoughts. All right, let's not blow this. All right, let's not screw this up. All right, that feeling, because you hadn't seen the Jaguars offense do anything throughout the game early on. They didn't have to. You had the 10 points off turnovers early on. You had the punt return for a touchdown. Because of that, you still had the question of, all right, if Houston is able to get on the board, if Houston's able to score, then what is this going to look like? And then you get the halftime turnover from Trevor Lawrence. Great play by Darius Stingley. I don't even think it was necessarily a badly thrown ball by Lawrence, but nevertheless, it happened to take another 3 points potential off the board. And at that point, it was kind of tighter than you'd want it to be. So because of that, and because you had such a limited roster between the guys that were out due to injury, it just became too tight for comfort for most of Duval County. And it happened kind of like you thought it would. I mean, it stinks to say that, try to put the ills of previous organizations or the ills of previous regimes on this team, but it's happened twice now. This is a thing because they've shown it on film to be a thing. Jake Browning and now Davis Mills have both beaten this Jacksonville Jaguars team.
Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. Yeah, it's, again, you lose to Browning and to Mills, and amazingly, you're still 5-4, and if the playoffs started today, the Jaguars would be in, and we'll get more on that in a moment. The offensive line, how can I put this? They were horrible, and they've been horrible a majority of the last month. And to me, Travis, the primary culprit is the left tackle.
Ooh, that's not hard to see. Whether or not you're someone who watches the all 22 tape or you're just a casual football fan, you probably think that Walker Little's not playing very well this season, and I think that's pretty accurate. From early on in the season, the Trey Hendrickson matchup in week 2 to now has been a pretty obvious deficiency for the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line, and in the immortal words of Vic Ketchum, help is not on the way. I mean, you're limited on options. Like, again, you have other guys who can provide you with competition, maybe a little bit of depth, but overall, it's Walker Little until the end of the season, and you figure out what to do with it after that. But he is the primary culprit, but also missing Ezra Cleveland really did hurt them in the run game. Cole Van Lannon he wasn't up to the task of, helping them get this running game up to that 4 yards a carry, 4.5 yards a carry that they're generally trying to look for. And then Patrick McCarry dealing with injury, Anton Harrison dealing with injury late. The injuries had a big impact on both the offensive line and the game overall, but at offensive line specifically, it was a lot worse, obviously, with Chuma Edoga's late penalty in the matchup.
I'm tired of seeing Edoga commit penalties. All right, I get that he's your jumbo guy because you have no Hunter Long and no Britton Strange. Then he had to come in when Anton left. So I get that. I mean, he's good enough to be out there to play, but he's not good enough to put up with this. And this is the second game that I can remember. Maybe there have been more where he got called for numerous penalties. I remember the first time he literally got called for back-to-back penalties and got pulled out of the game earlier in the season. The hands to the face is inexcusable in that situation. Look, Edoga, I mean, if he keeps doing this, you can't put him on the field, can you?
Right. He's your sixth guy with injuries, seventh guy, rotational guy, whatever you want to call it. And he has 5 penalties on the season, which is crazy for the amount of snaps that he has. And unfortunately, that's why he's a backup guy, and that's not to demean him. It's just to say he's not the starting guys, and his footwork isn't where it should be. So it results in him over leveraging himself, getting outside of his box, having to grab guys, and then also the false start, pre-snap penalties, things of that nature. You just can't have it. And so, yeah, they got to get healthy to get those other guys back on the field, or you got to give Wyatt Milam, Jonah Monheim, one of those other guys a chance.
Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country. He's also one of the co-hosts of the Duval Dive podcast. People are blaming Trevor. And look, he's the quarterback. He's the high-priced quarterback. I get it. When your left tackle is getting obliterated in the fourth quarter, I'm not sure what he's supposed to do in some of those situations. What was your overall assessment of Trevor Lawrence?
He played fine. That's really where it is. Like, he missed, and this is the part that makes this very difficult, because when you say a quarterback, quote unquote, missed the guy who he should have let the ball go, or the ball, should have been thrown, that the guy was open or had a step on the defender, that becomes a much harder conversation for most normal fans. When you're just saying, hey man, these other guys were open deep and he's nervous about pulling the trigger. He's playing game management football and just trying to move the ball down the field. That is a good thing when you're in a game and you're ahead, like this situation. But when you look back on the game and say, all right, they had multiple opportunities for touchdowns. They had Parker Washington on the over route that was wide open, that the ball wasn't let go. They had De'Ami Brown on the post route that's open with him 2 steps on Derek Stingley, and Trevor just hitches and doesn't let it go, and then later decides to let it go, and it's almost interception in the touchdown. Like, there's a few opportunities. The ball batted down at the line of scrimmage even by Shire, that Trevor Lawrence had an opportunity for those explosive plays and just didn't let the ball go. And to me, those stick out more, because that's that killer instinct. That's that killer mentality of saying, I'm going to end this game, instead of saying, I'm just not going to screw it up for the rest of the team. And to me, that's the major difference in this ball game. Davis Mills played like a backup who may not get another chance, and he's just going to take those chances and put some of those crazy passes in there, in those tight and possible spots. And Trevor Lawrence hitched and decided not to. That's the difference.
You go to the defensive side of the ball, the Jaguar front four is probably the worst in the league at getting to the opposing quarterback. Now, I understand that Davis Mills was throwing the ball quickly, except the touchdown to Dalton Schultz, where he could have played bingo back there with his offensive line and then throwing the ball, 28 seconds later or whatever it was. And I get it. Look, Joshua Hines-Allen is double-teamed, and that's the reality. But you know who else is double-teamed, Travis? Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson and T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett and all the best edge rushers in the league, and they still seem to affect games. And Hines-Allen is not affecting games. When is that a problem, or is it already a problem?
Oh, it's past. It's a problem. And again, whether or not you're talking to those guys who are like actual former NFL coaches, or whether you're talking to guys who just watch the game on Sundays, everybody's kind of having the same vitriol for this Jacksonville Jaguars pass rush. They're getting pressure, and I actually think I thank Josh Hines-Allen and Travon Walker, because it's causing some really curious and interesting conversations in this fan base between the quote unquote ball knowers and the non-ball knowers that are having some great arguments between pressures and sacks and which one matters most, because the Jaguars pressure rate is pretty solid. It's like an average NFL team, the middle of the pack, and their sack rate is just down in the dumpster. It is in the basement, and that's the part that's really curious, that these guys are they're moving guys off their spot. They're just not sacking the quarterback, and that's Josh Hines-Allen. Travon Walker obviously has a hand and a half, so that makes it a little bit difficult with the cast on everything but the fingers. But Eric Armstead had an incredible game this week, so you can't even say it's not that he's not getting help. It's just you're not getting help from the other defensive tackle spot, where it's either Devon Hamilton, Smoot, or Mason Smith. And overall, Josh Hines-Allen is just not closing the door, and it's making it so that it's getting to a point where it's hard to defend the production that's taking place on the field, because that is why he's here for that 17.5 sack season. And you're not even looking like you're getting the same guy as far as closing the deal, getting these quarterbacks on the ground. And that's a problem, to the point where Liam Cohen now has to talk about that pretty much on a weekly basis. Like, how do you get guys on the ground if you can't rush with 4 rushers? I don't know. And that's a true issue, but I mean, maybe you get Colin Saunders a few more snaps like they tried to do this week. He did have his one pressure on his 9 snaps of pass rush snaps, so maybe that's an answer. But again, because there was no moves made at the trade deadline, because you're kind of just limited on what you have, it's going to be a situation where Josh Hines-Allen is going to have his Wheaties and kind of make this happen and change plays, or else they're going to have some real difficult conversations this offseason about what to do with him next year.
Final moments, Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. Travis, I want to look ahead this week quickly, about 30 seconds. I do want to give a shout-out to Parker Washington. Great game. Cam Little, awesome game. And Jarian Jones looked like the Jarian Jones of last year. He was really playing well. Amidst all the awfulness of the fourth quarter, I thought those 3 guys in particular stood out.
Absolutely. I mean, Jarian's game was great. Cam Little, Cam's been pretty consistent ever since the bye week, so like that's a great thing for him. Parker Washington's basically made the early portions of the game. He didn't give you a lot in the passing game, more as much as you would have hoped, because again, there are a few opportunities that simply weren't thrown, or that the quarterback was pressured at the time of the throw. So like there was a deep out that just wasn't thrown because of, again, Walker Little. And you have things of that nature. But I think those 3 guys, to your point, absolutely played great. And I would throw Eric Armstead in that bucket, that he had that dominant of a game, and it just goes under the radar, unfortunately, in a losing effort. But overall, when you get the other guys back, I think it will be positive for this team. Brian Thomas Jr., obviously Brenton Strange potentially, as for Cleveland, Jordan Lewis, all those guys back, I think it will help this Jacksonville Jaguars team much more, because they just don't have the depth as a team like Houston, who didn't miss those guys, their top guys, as much.
All right, Travis, final question. I relate this game against the Chargers and what happened last week against Houston to the timeline of one of those awful college hangovers that I think everybody listening probably knows what I'm talking about. You wake up the next morning and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just horrible. I feel so bad, which is what the Jaguar fan base was Sunday night into Monday. You get into the Tuesday and Wednesday, you start shaking out the cobwebs a little bit. All right. And by the time, 7 days rolls around, you're ready to go again. That's what the Jaguars have to do, right? I mean, they have to have that mindset. They have to be ready to go. The fan base has to be ready to go. It is a gigantic home game, and the NFL is so week to week. As much as last Sunday night sucked, and it sucked, if you go out there and you beat Herbert and the Chargers, well, then all of a sudden, you're 2 games back from the Colts. You still play Indy twice. All the wild card teams would then have 4 losses, right? The Chargers would have their 4th loss. Kansas City already has 4 losses. Pittsburgh has 4 losses. You now have 4 losses. It's just contingent on beating the Chargers, which might be easier said than done.
I think that's fair. This Chargers team is also truly Jekyll and Hyde in very many ways also. So even if you were to beat this Chargers team, it's not going to catapult you into discussions of this being a legitimate football team, especially after losing against the hobbled Houston Texans, especially after nearly losing against the Raiders just last week, who didn't look very dominant against the Broncos the week after. But it will at least calm the fan base. It will obviously calm the minds of the players and the coaching staff and everyone in that building to say, all right, cool, we can, when healthy, play with anyone, which is exactly what I feel as it currently stands. When healthy, I think this Jacksonville Jaguars team can beat nearly anyone if they're playing clean, and if they're injured or hobbled and not playing clean, they can lose against literally anyone. And that's just a testament to the parity in the NFL. So yes, they have a huge game this week against the Chargers, and assuming they can get a few guys back and get a little bit healthier, that win can do so much to catapult this team to a potential wild card race, to a potential wild card berth. But they got to show up. And it's got to be better than just the first quarter. And it's got to be better than just the first 3 quarters. They got to show up for a full game and put it together more than they have this whole season. So I'm waiting to see it.
Chargers have won 4 out of 5. They have a bye week next week. So this East Coast trip to Jacksonville, and then they have a week off. I don't know. They're due for a bad game because they've played really well the last 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens at Everbank Stadium on Sunday. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Travis, tell us about Big Cat Country and the Duval Dive podcast. What will you have leading into the Chargers game on Sunday?
Well, we're always going to have our staff breakdown of the main X factors of the game, our primary matchups, kind of how we feel about where this team is at following the last 2 weeks. The whole up after the Raiders game and the down after this past week. And what is it going to look like when, Brenton Strange finally returns? Are we going to see a little bit less of those six offensive lineman looks? Or maybe we'll see more 3 tight end sets. We'll give you all the breakdowns, BigCatCountry.com, and we'll also give you those, a lot of those same conversations and anything that you want to talk about over at the Duval Dive, because that's kind of what we're here for. Is we want to be the voice of the fan base, both at Big Cat Country and the Duval Dive podcast, and just kind of talk about the things that you want to talk about, but maybe in a little bit deeper or smarter way.
Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, and the Duval Dive podcast. Travis, I know you're busy. Thank you as always for the time. We'll talk soon, pal.
Yes, sir.
1010XL brings you the orange and blue. The Gators march into Mississippi with a battle plan to tame the Rebels.
Broken tackle, still on his feet.
Florida, Ole Miss, Saturday at 7 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
Gators! Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Tess, what's up?
Oh, the CFO needs me to book a week of travel. I'm days behind on invoices. The plants in the lobby are dying, and now I have to order lunch for 80 with gluten-free options.
Just use EasyCater.
EasyCater?
One platform built for workplaces. Tons of great restaurants, any group size, with tools to meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Plus, rewards.
Rewards?
You earn rewards points when you order. Good for discounts or even gift cards for you.
Now that's what's up.
EasyCater, the easy, rewarding way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
Hey, so where do we tee off?
Tee it high and let it fly.
He's got a beautiful backswing.
Oh, he got all of that one.
Tour news, local updates, and the latest gear. Cut a few strokes off your game Saturday mornings at 10 with the Edwin Watts Golf Hour on 1010XL.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron. Totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens, also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings, and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Duck Duck Rooter is a full-service plumbing company. They can handle any plumbing project, from clogged drains, water heater replacements, septic to city sewer conversions, backflow testing, lift stations, large-scale repipe jobs. They really do it all. Duck Duck Rooter has highly skilled technicians that will solve your problem right the first time. Check out their reviews on Google and give them a call, servicing both commercial and residential customers.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 11th, 1992, Shaquille O'Neal made his NBA debut for the Orlando Magic against the Miami Heat. He would tally 12 points, 18 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Lone Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Lone Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 16617881. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Beards Diamonds, where they are having the biggest sale all year right now. Beards' 44th anniversary sale is happening with up to 44% savings. It's our biggest and final store-wide event of the year. Beards' largest selection and lowest prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, colored gemstones. Their cases are jam-packed, and our associates know they can break all the rules for this one. Shop early for Christmas. Get the Beards now as they mark another year of proudly serving Jacksonville. In a sea of corporate chain jewelry stores, Beards is honored to be the only local jeweler in the town center. No commission salespeople, no corporate chain sales gimmicks, no treating you like a number. Don't miss Beards Diamonds' 44th anniversary sale. From golden necklaces to lab-grown diamond studs to all the latest styles from top designers, you'll find it at Beards. In the St. John's Town Center, I say, shop local, shop Beards.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. I will tell you, Florida State basketball, 3 minutes to go down in Gainesville. It's a good one. Florida holding on to a 71-66 lead. Florida cannot shoot the ball to save their life, but their front court has just dominated. Thomas Houck and Ruben Chinyelu have combined 30 points, 28 rebounds. Florida just cannot hit threes at all. This is the third game in a row to begin the year. Their outside shooting is just absolutely awful. But again, when you're dominating the boards like that, it's a good thing for the Gators with that dominating front court. Again, we will keep you updated. 2.5 to go in Gainesville. Florida holding on to a 71-66 lead. I'll say this too. I mean, we don't talk really at all about Florida State hoops here because I'm quite frankly not sure how many Seminole basketball fans there are in the area. But this new coach they got, their former player, Luke Laux, good. They got a good team, man. Got a lot of transfers in. They've been jacking up threes. They're an athletic team. They're a skilled team. They're going to be fun to watch. There is absolutely no doubt about that. The college football playoff rankings out earlier this evening as well. My buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. We'll talk to Brent about the rankings and about the college football weekend coming up here in a moment. Denmark, you and I mentioned this at the top, right when the rankings came out. No real surprise, I guess. You got Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Alabama 4. Those would be the 4 teams with the byes. Georgia 5, Texas Tech 6. Let me stop right there. I have not watched a lot of Texas Tech football.
They are good.
In fact, last week really was the first time I watched them when they dominated BYU. But I know they've spent like $1 billion in the portal. Are they the 6th best team in America right now?
No, they're top 5.
You think they're that high?
They should be a top 5 team.
Who would you have them over of the top 5 tonight?
Probably Alabama.
Wow, really? All right, interesting.
But here's the thing: these rankings don't mean anything.
Not yet. They're starting to.
Right, but it's November 11th. The only rankings that matter are the ones that's prior to the championship weekend and then after championship weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with that from this standpoint. You were right when it was a 14 playoff. It would be hard to drop 12 spots in a couple of weeks. If you're 1 or 2 going into Thanksgiving weekend, I don't know. I mean, you would have to get obliterated to me in back-to-back weeks to fall out of the top 12. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, from that standpoint, yes. But, I mean, we still have so much time left in this season where so many things can change. And you have so many teams with a loss or 2 losses, and we do this every year.
No, but it's a conference. The only reason they release these rankings is to get people talking about
it.
But there's no other reason to do it.
The point I'm trying to make is there's so many teams that have a chance to be at a 12-team playoff, and it's never like this every year. Every year, you're going to have 2 or 3 teams complaining that they should have been in, and it's going to be the same thing this year. And, it doesn't seem like that right now, but it's going to be like that in 3-4 weeks.
Of the teams that currently would not be in, I don't believe BYU would be in. They're the 12 because you have to have a group of 5, and South Florida, I believe, takes their spot tonight. So if you go BYU, Utah, up to Vanderbilt, Miami, Georgia Tech, Southern Cal, who would have the biggest gripe tonight to not be in the top 12?
I'd probably say BYU because they were undefeated and they just lost to a team that's 6.
And but they did get crushed.
They did.
That's the thing. That goes all about the style points, and you can't. I mean, they lost by like 30 in that game, right? It wasn't even a competitive ball game.
Yeah, I know. In the second half, they were down 3 possessions at like middle of the third quarter, and then they never even did anything on offense. So I forget what the final ended up being, but yeah, it wasn't close.
Let's get to Florida Ole Miss on Saturday. Again, the Gators go to Oxford. Does it matter if they win or lose? Well, from a standpoint that they're 3-6 and not going anywhere, no, it doesn't. I guess if you want to try to get to bowl eligibility and go in 3-0, but that's not going to happen. Denmark, I don't know, man. I can't remember this dynamic being at play, and maybe it has been, where a team whose fan base, what a 3. What a 3 from Klabchar. Puts Florida up 4 with 50 seconds to go. Florida State had cut it to 1, but Irvin Klabchar with a huge 3, and Florida now leads 74-72 with 40 seconds to go. I can't remember a scenario where you have a team playing against a guy who a particular fan base wants to be their new head coach so bad this late in the year. People are going to be tuning in Gator Nation. I don't think so much to see Florida as much as to see Lane Kiffin and what he's doing at Ole Miss. The dynamic on Saturday in Oxford, Denmark, is really something. I can't remember a scenario like this.
Yeah, I can't think of one on the top of my mind, but I know it's happened in the history of the sport of college football.
Probably. But you have a team in Florida, and particularly a fan base in Florida, that has made no bones about it. Lane Kiffin is their number 1 by far and away. And this is a question that I'm getting asked more than any other question, at least right now. You saw Curt Cignetti sign a contract extension in Indiana. Rhett Lashley, a contract extension at SMU. All these guys that are getting paid big money. People are asking me, well, why hasn't Lane Kiffin signed a contract extension in Oxford? Is that a telling factor of what he may or may not do in a couple of weeks? What's your response to that?
Yeah, there's some truth to that. I don't believe, it's the end-all, be-all, but there is a little bit to it. Because if he really wanted to be at Ole Miss and wanted to get done with, I'm sure that he could just walk into the AD's office and say, hey, let's get a deal done and be done with it. But I will say this, a lot of people right now, they're looking at the Vegas odds. It's got updated in the last couple of days. Lane Kiffin's minus 300 now. which has been, it was like minus 100 earlier in the week or like late last week. Now it's minus 300. Peter Burns put out a couple hours ago. So, Lincoln Riley took the job over USC in 2021.
Yeah.
Here were the odds who are going to be the favorite for USC. Luke Fickell, PJ Fleck, Mario Cristobal, Matt Campbell, Urban Meyer, James Franklin, list goes on. Then you go to Tennessee in 2021. Josh Heupel got the job. Here are the odds for the Tennessee job in 2021. This was January 19th. Billy Napier was plus 300. Chadwell was plus 400. Kevin Steele plus 500. Tom Herman 700. Hugh Freeze, Gus Malzahn. So
odds mean nothing, is what
right.
you're saying.
Well, I wouldn't say they mean nothing because they're going off of what they're being told. Like Prosser and Hickman said, hey, like boosters have been meeting with Lane Kiffin.
Sure.
They're not exactly reporting that, but they've been hearing that. So it's something, but it's not everything.
And Kiffin's playing the game too. Did you see his press conference earlier this week?
Oh yeah.
He was asked about what makes for a good job, and he talked about facilities, recruiting budget, resources, alumni, history. I mean, he's playing the game very, very well. He's a social media guy, so he's putting little teasers on there that might think he's thinking Florida. Then he's putting teasers where he's thinking Ole Miss, or you're assuming he's thinking Ole Miss in his post. He's having a fun time with this, and you can tell it.
Oh, and he retweeted that DJ Lagway got benched.
Yeah,
it's so funny because that could mean so many things for him.
I mean,
and he
look,
just puts it out there and doesn't say anything about it.
You and I do Gator Bites every Friday. I'm sure I'll ask you about it on Friday morning. But as we sit here right now on November 11th, by the way, happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all who served in our United States military over the years. As we sit here on the evening of Veterans Day, if I tell you or ask you, is Lane Kiffin the next head coach of the University of Florida, what do you say?
I'd probably lean yes right now.
You would lean yes right now. Yeah, I probably would too, and I don't think I would have a couple of weeks ago.
No.
Now, maybe a week or two from now, I might think differently, but enough people have told me things on the record and off the record where I'm starting to think that Kiffin obviously is the favorite, but I do think that I would be leaning towards him taking the Florida job. And if he doesn't, I'm hearing more and more that Drinkwitz may not be as much in play as maybe we would have thought at some point.
Yeah, and I said this weeks ago, dude, people's minds can change. It's only November 11th, and we still have 3 games left in the regular season. You still have a conference championship, and then you still have the playoff. A lot of minds can change from now and from another month or two.
I'm going to ask Brent Beard this coming up in less than 10 minutes. Do you think Scott Strickland knows already? I mean, at some point, Lane Kiffin, it's going to be yes or no, and it's going to obviously be behind closed doors before it's made publicly. But if it's no, Florida's going to have to know that they got to pivot, and Florida's going to have to start pivoting very, very quickly with all these jobs open. Kiffin can't, lead them on this wild goose chase until mid to late December, even early January. They're going to have some idea pretty soon, I would think, probably after the Egg Bowl, are they not?
One would think, yeah. I don't know if the answer is Scott Strickland knows exactly right this second, but when you get to Thanksgiving, he's going to have a pretty good idea of, what are the odds if it's going to be Kiffin, Drinkwitz, and if it's not those two, the third guy.
And again, Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from Thursday. Real quick, I'll tell you a great story before we get Brent Beard. We're also, by the way, going to talk a little NBA. My buddy Brian Toporek of Bleacher Report talking about the first 3 weeks of the NBA season. That comes up towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. So Forrest, a little hack, as you know him, is a big Lee Greenwood fan. God bless the USA. So it's Veterans Day, so we had him sing that song for his papa, my stepdad, and I took a video of it. And I just put it on social media today, and I tagged Lee Greenwood's Twitter account. And sure enough, Lee Greenwood retweeted my guy, or whoever runs Lee Greenwood's account retweeted my guy singing God Bless the USA. That was a very, very cool moment for me. Again, for anybody that served in the United States military on this Veterans Day and on every day that ends with the letter Y, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing what you did for this country. Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. He joins us next on a Tuesday evening in Northeast Florida. By the way, Florida 76-73 over Florida State. 10 seconds to go in the game. Denmark, should we keep it right here for the final 10 seconds? Florida State inbounding the ball. Gators up 3. Florida State going for the tie. No good. Condon rebound. He's fouled. And it looks like Florida will survive. Condon going to the line up 3. 5 seconds to go. Looks like the Gators are going to get out of there with a win tonight. Brent Beard next on Hacker After Dark.